There we go. We are live in the group. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. We have some special guests in the group today. I'm excited about this. We have Crystal and Robert. They are from Sierra Interactive, which is a great CRM for real estate. Robert is the product manager for the CRM, which is pretty cool. And Crystal is the let me make sure I get this right, Crystal. Digital media marketing manager.
Digital marketing accounts manager.
A digital marketing account manager. Very cool. So a little bit of background on this interview, folks. This was a few months ago, actually. I was talking to a really, really important realtor out of Calgary, Lee Youssef. Great guy, mega agent, big team, huge producer. We're talking about ISA and conversion, and I was trying to get him to become a potential client. Spoiler alert, he just became a client this week, which is very cool. But back then we were just talking, right? And he mentioned to me, I always want to know, hey, how are you getting, what lead generation is working for you? The question we all want to know from the top producers, right? What's working? Give me the goods, give me the insights. What's working right now? Because as you all know, it's a moving target, right? What worked last year is not necessarily going to work this year. It's going to be less effective, something new, something different. Where are you allocating your resources? What's working for you in the online lead gen space? And he said something that I kind of got ingrained into my mind. He said, well, we've been spending a ton on Google pay-per-click. I just shifted all of my spend, though, from buyer ads to seller ads. And I'm like, okay, well, that's interesting. So why'd you do that? Oh, because we're killing it with this company called Sierra Interactive. And I knew of Sierra. I had heard of them. I never actually spoken to these guys before. And I said, so why would you do that? He goes, it's working amazing for us, right? And he specifically said, seller ads, Google PPC, they really know what they're doing, and they're getting a great ROI. So that's interesting for me, right? Because when I talk to an agent, and they recommend a lead source, okay, that's interesting. When I talk to a mega producer, that kind of cut their teeth online, knows how to convert leads, has an ISA team, and they say something like that, it catches my attention. So I said, okay, well, that's really interesting. So I reached out to a mutual friend of ours, Robbie T, who's an ISA coach, great guy, friend of the group. And I said, Robbie, you got to hook me up with who you have in Sierra, because I know he has a great relationship with Sierra. Got to hook me up with someone at Sierra. He connected me to Bob connected me to Crystal. And, we all got, chatting and decided to come on here. So they've been nice enough, gracious enough to give us some of their time to talk a little bit about what is Sierra doing that's interesting, that's unique, that's adding so much value. I'd love to hear about that. And I have a bunch of other questions, about behind that. But I'd love for you guys to jump in, tell us everything you want. And again, like always, folks, these folks are coming in because they want to communicate. They want to talk about the value that they have. We don't have any kind of an affiliate link for Sierra. I don't have any kind of relationship with them. They're just very nice people, and they want to talk about how awesome they are. And I like to listen and see what they're up to, because I know they're being successful. So that's why they're here in the group. Without further ado, we've got Robert and Crystal here. Folks, introduce yourselves. And why do you guys think a mega producer like Lee is going all in with Sierra?
Well, thanks, Gus. That was a really awesome introduction. Thank you. And Lee is great. I've been working with Lee for about a year now. I talk to him often, and I think he's tried everything at this point with our ad services. And yeah, he's told me he's really excited about the seller leads.
Not only has tried everything with Sierra, he's tried everything.
Yeah.
And he has a big budget, right? So he's trying new things. He's very straightforward. He's exhaustive, and he really knows what to do with leads. So he has a great process. I actually once saw him I heard him coach one of his agents, like live on the phone. And this guy is he's good. He knows how to convert online leads. So when you have a machine like that, right? You have a process like that, a team like that, as a leader, your job is to give them good leads, because they will convert them, right? And the reverse is also true. When your team can't be successful with a lead source, it's the lead source, because you have a good process, you've got a good team, they're well coached, and they're well managed. So I'm like, that's why it was all these things kind of came together, and I said, Sierra must be doing something interesting. So yeah, I agree. Lee is one of those guys that try everything.
Yeah, and you can tell in the conversations that I have with him, because of all the success that he's having, that he's got his nurture down. He has got his lead process down. His team, like you said, is on top of it, and he's a good leader when it comes to that. So, and that is something to take away from this, is yeah, we'll get you leads, we'll get you good leads, we'll get you a lot of leads, we'll get you the leads that you want. But once you have the leads, it's in your hands. It's up to you. It's now it's on your plate to utilize the rest of the platform to convert those leads.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
So tell us, Crystal, when someone comes to you and says, "Hey, I want those sweet seller leads, hook me up, Crystal." How does that conversation begin? What is that process like? I'll say I just signed up for Sierra yesterday, and I'm like, I heard you guys know what you're doing when it comes to advertising. How do I get started?
Yeah. So if a new client signs up and they say they're interested in ads, I kind of give them a review of our PPC services. We also do Facebook remarketing, but for a brand new client that's going to have, little to no web traffic on their brand new site, the best thing to do is start off with this PPC traffic, this paid advertising on Google. And I have to ask them, like, what is your goal? Because not everybody's goal is going to be these seller ads. People sometimes are looking, a lot of times are looking to get a lot of traffic headed to their site, to get a lot of leads into their CRM and to get their agents working. So for those, that's more the buyer PPC ads. And those are, tried and true. They work for everybody. We're able to run them anywhere in the country, and they work. And that client would talk to me about, they fill out a questionnaire. We review the campaigns that they're thinking about. We review who are they looking to reach with these ads. We talk about budgeting and things like that. And then if a client is also like, hey, I'm also interested in seller ads, then we go down that route. And I talk to them about, there's some things about the seller ads that make them work better in some areas than others. So Lee benefits because he is in a high populous area. And this is one of the main things with the seller ads, because with the Google ads, you can live anywhere and potentially see an ad. You can target somebody anywhere in the nation. You could target people who are relocating, from across the country, if that's what you're interested in. And if that's what works for your area, but with the seller ads, you don't do that, right? Because you're not going to take a listing across the country. You're going to take a listing in your area. So automatically the audience is a lot smaller. And also the types of searches, because our seller site, I should probably inform about this information. We have a specific seller lead site, and it's basically a valuation tool. So that's what we use for our landing page specifically, and the site was built for this purpose. So we would push clients to this site, and we would push leads to the site, and I would talk to the clients and let them know, where are you looking to get listings? Is it in a particular city? Is it Calgary? Is it multiple counties? Like how far? What's your area? How far out are you willing to go?
How far are you willing to drive? That's literally the question we ask when we're doing something. When we talk about outbound prospecting, because we do a lot of that as an ISA team. That's the question we ask. How far are you willing to drive to take a listing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's usually, it's either going to be like 3 hours or longer. The province of Alberta, it just depends kind of how big the team is, how big their coverage is, how much ad spend they have too, right?
Exactly. And that's the thing with the seller ads is, so population is important, because this search,
you want density, you want more people.
You want density,
in a smaller areas is more bang for the buck, I guess.
More bang for the buck. And the search is just not as popular as homes for sale in Louisville is not going to be as popular as, what is my home worth for somebody who lives in Louisville or who lives in that county. So yeah, population is definitely important. Also, another thing you want to consider if you're thinking about running the seller ads with Sierra is, do you have like a high traffic for travelers or for vacationers? Because if the answer is yes, then these seller ads may not be the best avenue. You may be better off going with the buyer PPC at that time. And
I think
the reason is that we're trying to reach people in a specific area, right? And believe it or not, people conduct these type of searches while they're on vacation or while they're on a work trip, or like people are
Absolutely.
curious. And, I always ask clients, like, you got to ask yourself, why is this person, traveling in Louisville for work, and all of a sudden are like, what is my house worth, back in Connecticut? It's very curious. So that brings you to like, no lead is a bad lead, because perhaps there is some intention there and you kind of have to dig it out of them. But so for places like Miami or somewhere else where you may have really high volume of vacation traffic, then, the seller ad might not be the best avenue, because you may, not that it won't work, it's just, you may be coming to me a lot and being like, hey, I keep getting leads that don't live,
in
Miami.
Exactly.
So,
San Diego, a vacation spot, second home location.
Second home.
I definitely understand that. So and let me make sure I kind of restating what you said already. So the main kind of source that Sierra works with are the home valuation leads for sellers, and you recommend doing Google pay-per-click ads based on and my Android phone keeps turning on because I'm talking about Google. Shut up, phone. And you drive that Google pay-per-click traffic to a landing page, a seller valuation landing page, and this is all packaged. I'm really ignorant about Sierra. That's why I love you guys that are here. So this is all included in Sierra. So you have like a landing page for sellers that's like built in, and they're landing there, and that's how this whole process starts. They get into the CRM, Google pay-per-click driven traffic into a seller valuation landing page. Am I hearing you guys right?
So as far as the seller campaign goes, and Robert, maybe you can confirm the amount of seller sites that clients have with their.
Every client can create up to 25 seller lead sites with their account.
Nice.
Yes. So the site comes.
Is that to make it like micro-targeted,
Well, that's a great question, Gus. I know one client that was in a larger area in the New York City area, and he crafted certain sites to certain neighborhoods, for example, and used a background image that was, more unique to that particular area, and it was successful for him.
Yes. In many cases, when a client comes to me though for the seller ads, they may just need one site depending on the populace and the size of the area that they're looking for. But to answer your question, the site is included in their Sierra subscription. And then we also offer with our Google PPC management. And I want to clarify that the seller leads they're not the main lead type that I recommend or prefer when I get a new client. When I get a new client, it's normally the buyer PPC is mostly the best avenue to go, because it is going to produce the most leads at the lowest cost, and it's going to get your CRM rocket and rolling much quicker. But a portion of your budget can definitely go towards sellers if after we have a conversation and we determine that your area would be great for this, if you'd want to give it a go.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a lot of things you're saying, Crystal, that I 100% agree with. Number one, buyers and seller leads online are not the same, right? There's some actually pretty dramatic differences, as far as cost goes. Number one, conversion rate. What I've seen is conversion rate for buyers versus sellers very different as well. Sellers are just harder in a normal market. Forget this market. Normal market, all things being equal. Seller lead is kind of a tougher nut to crack. Conversion rates would be lower. This is what I've seen. And buyer lead, lower cost, higher conversion rate, in general. So if you want to get business in the next 90 days, I agree with you. You want to stack up with those buyer leads, ASAP, right? Because they actually can convert at a relatively high rate. And I don't know what it is about online. Buyers want to see homes. Online is a great way to see homes. So that is always, has been tried and true for the last, decade, 10, 12, 13 years. Getting homes online is a great way to attract buyers. It's like, the bees going to the honey, right? Like, oh, hey, let's check that out. That's what is that the right analogy? You guys know what I mean. Flies going to, maybe it's a fly, I don't know what it is, but it's a great magnet, right? Very, very straightforward. Like you said, tried and true methodology. Buyers want to see homes, give them homes, especially in a market like this. Sellers is a little bit different, right? You're looking at intent. How do you tell your clients, especially maybe some folks are on the newer side, how to kind of thread that needle? There's this everyone wants sellers, but these types of leads are different, right? And you also mentioned another thing, another wrinkle in this conversation, which I love. I love wrinkles. I'm an engineer by training. So I'm like, I love the details, right? You said something really important. Depends on your area, right? And that's the answer everyone hates. Like, oh, but I want to know what's going to work for me, like geography.
And it depends on your budget, because
your
seller
budget
leads
too.
are
Oh,
a
that's
lot
another
more
one.
expensive than buyer leads. So if you're saying you only have a $300 budget, then buyers are probably the way you want to go at this time. And again, these are conversations to have, everything we're saying, just take it at the top level, and then these are conversations to have, after you're on board, or if you're already a Sierra client, feel free to reach out to me. It's digitalmarketing@sierrainteractive.com. And we can go over this stuff and try to make sure that you're choosing, the best ads for your current goals and your current situation. Because sometimes your goals, like your ideal goals, don't line up necessarily with your situation. So it's good to iron that out.
Expectations. It's all about setting the proper expectation. I mean, we're a service provider agents as well. The number one issue that we want to address head on, number one, is do we have the right expectations going into this product, into this service, into this, project that we have to help you generate more leads, more transactions? Are we on the same page? Because a buyer lead campaign is very different cost-wise, conversion rate-wise, time frame-wise than a seller lead campaign. How else do you kind of help people kind of distinguish both of those if they want to jump into to either one or to both?
Well, it's normally, and I think you did ask earlier, just to circle back, about being included. And I wanted to mention that we do offer complimentary management of ad spends up to $1,000. So this means the client
hold on. Yeah. So if I get a Sierra Interactive site, so you would
be responsible for your ad. Yeah, you would be responsible for your ad spend, but if your budget is $1,000 or under, we do not charge a separate management fee.
Oh, cool.
So, which is awesome. Cool. Yeah, because
really awesome.
That's great, because that's just more money that you can put into your ad spend, which
especially
will give
in
you
that
more
range.
business.
And that range, because I've heard, again, these management services and around the grapevine, it's $200 a month, $500 a month. I've heard, in that range from the
20% is like 20% of ad spend is normal.
Pretty typical,
but it does range based on the company. But this is great. So we're super happy to be able to offer this, because it's a big deal. Like an extra $200 to go towards,
on a smaller budget, it's huge. I think it's a difference between seeing results in 60 days versus seeing results in 120 days. And most agents are not going to wait 120 days to start seeing traction on their ad spend, right? They tend to. Agents, I love you guys. I love you. But you guys don't have any patience, right? And that's why you have to see, not necessarily close transactions, but they just want to see traction. They want to see conversions, appointments, conversations, quality conversations happening. And if you don't get enough leads, you're never going to get. The percentages don't work. The percentages don't come in, and the numbers are not going to work. And that, I'd say, 90 to 100-day time frame that agents want to see results.
Yeah, I agree. And there's always this question of, a quality lead and people wanting to try to narrow and focus the audience as much as they can to try to get what they would think of as a quality lead. But then I get reached back out to being like, I don't have enough leads. And it's like, well, we can't do both unless you're going to have a nice high budget. It's tough to do both. Not necessarily get a quality lead, but try to manipulate your audience and to get exactly who you want, so it's tough to do both. But so another campaign that we offer that you might be interested in is a sphere nurturing campaign through Facebook. Yeah. So the goal of this campaign is to get your existing leads to come back to your site, to keep them engaged with your website, right? Because I mean, let's be honest, most agents are doing marketing at this point, right? A lot of people are online. A lot of people are running ads. You'll have leads that are signing up on multiple websites. Like, how do you how do you stand out? How do you be the agent that connects with that lead and become, you know, the brand that they're looking for when they're thinking of looking at homes? And so the Sphere nurturing ad is pretty awesome for that, because you have all of these leads in your database, and you know, they're being nurtured by the ISAs, they're being nurtured by the fully automated action plans within the CRM. But now they would get an ad on Facebook, and it's going to show them, it's a carousel ad, and it's going to show them the listings that they were just looking at on your site, or listings similar, you know, same area, same size, same price. So the whole idea is to, you know, be relevant, you know, and as the leads keep engaging with the ad, they'll keep serving the ad, you know, they'll keep seeing the ad, and it's not going to necessarily be the exact same ad every time, you know, because these listings in the ad, they update right from the MLS. Our programmers are amazing at Sierra, and they've built, you know, such great tools for us in order to be able to, you know, provide the best ad service that we can. And these tools allow us to get lower cost per leads, to get higher conversion rates. So that's what happens here, where these listings in this carousel ad updates directly from the MLS. So they are always up to date. There's never any listings on there that are expired, or, you know, so it's really great. And that ad, you know, it has about a 20% conversion rate. So that means,
oh, wow.
That means, like, you know, out of 100 of your leads that see the ad, about 20 times a listing is getting clicked on, and they're headed back to your site to view that property on your site. So it's very
that's
good.
a 20% effectiveness as to like driving them back. Like,
yes.
And that counting that page view is like a conversion. Okay, that definitely makes sense.
The conversion, yeah, the goal for that specific ad is to get the page view on the website. So
I got you.
yeah.
Oh,
but at 10 cents, you know, our goal there is 10 cents per landing page view. So it's pretty cheap.
I run, you know, retargeting ads myself, and that's usually like 1/10 of, you know, a small budget compared to what I do to cold audiences or other audiences. Retargeting is amazing. And I think you mentioned, I think you're right, Crystal, that I think a lot of agents, or most agents, have tried or are doing online marketing. It's typically with a very low level of sophistication. It's like boosted post. I still see agents doing boosted posts. You know, whatever the tooling does automatically off your Facebook page. There's a lot of, you know, the simple stuff I think they do. There's a lot of automatic posting tools in some of the CRMs nowadays. Like a Real Geeks, the Keller Williams command, or like, hey, post to Facebook, like boom. There's a lot of that going on. I rarely see the type of advertising you're talking about, which is optimization for conversion, which is retargeting, which is, you know, doing these other kinds of kind of more advanced campaigns, because it's not easy to do. It's like, it's not easy to automate. It's not easy to I don't know of a button that does retargeting campaigns.
Yeah.
Oh, retarget. To who and for what purpose, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's not that easy to, you know, to just fold in and work like magic. So if I'm understanding you correctly, Sierra will run my Google ads. Sierra will run is it only Facebook retargeting or also Google retargeting? Do you guys do both, or just Facebook?
Facebook retargeting at this time. We've just had a lot more success with that Facebook retargeting. The lead costs are low, the conversion rates are high. I mean, Facebook's got a really great platform for remarketing. And it's not just the Sphere. So we have two remarketing ads. One is to the Sphere, which I just described, and the other goes to people who visited your website but did not register. So let's think that your Google ad, let's say, it has a conversion rate. So this is, you know, click to lead rate of around 12%, which is great, which is what Sierra averages. And that's awesome, but that's still 88, you know, or so percent of people who clicked on your ad but did not become a lead. So now we're going to hit them on Facebook with the goal of getting them to become a lead. And those are really successful also. So yes, we offer both of these.
Very cool, very cool. That's awesome. So it's good to know. So you target both. Because one of my questions was, what are your thoughts on Google versus Facebook? Like, you know, what does one platform do well versus the other? Just from what we've been talking about, you like Google for cold traffic because it's targeted. From what you're describing, I'm guessing, fill in the blanks here. But why are you using Google for that cold traffic? And you already said why you're using Facebook for that retargeting. It's more successful for you guys. You get a great conversion rate off that as compared to Google. Why do you think Google wins on cold traffic?
Well, the Google traffic, the users, the searchers, they have intent. I mean, because we're bidding on keywords. We're bidding on what are people actually putting into the search bar when they're making a search. So we can run campaigns, city, we can run neighborhood, we can run subdivision, so this is the conversation that I have with clients is think of the areas. You have to kind of take into consideration the amount of listings that areas have. If an area has only 3 active listings, you might not want to run a campaign for that area, and it's just because of search volume. So let's say, someone is literally typing in, homes for sale in Louisville. Like there's your intent, like they are really looking for homes for sale. Like they're actually looking for homes for sale in Louisville. Yeah. Where on Facebook, the cold leads you can't target like that. It's a minimum of a 15-mile radius.
Oh, exactly. Just the neighbor. I mean, the fact, I think Google, I don't know how they're doing that still, but I love that they're doing it. You can do a lot of targeting that Facebook outlawed a long time ago.
They did. Yeah. Well, Google's kind of ruling the world, I guess.
Flying under the radar, I guess, right? So I don't know what the deal is, but I agree that I haven't even thought about that. There's the intent and the hyper targeting you can do as opposed to Facebook. But you're right; it's the 15-mile radius and kind of trust the algorithm in that sense. So you found
and those
that
work well.
Intent, the local targeting. Those are the main. Those are game changers as opposed to Facebook for cold audiences.
For cold audiences, and those Facebook direct lead ads, I mean, we offer them too, and we do have clients that run them, and those are offices that want like high volume leads, offices that like can really take on those high volumes. They have a great system for follow-up, but they know that these are going to be long nurture leads. Like these are not 3 to 6 month leads mostly, so we do offer that campaign, but a lot of our clients like to go the path of Google and then remarketing or side by side, depending on budget and organic web traffic. Organic web traffic, kind of the holy grail. If you have that, then you don't have to to pay. You don't have to have a PPC budget. You can just run the remarketing to your organic traffic. But
that definitely makes sense. So I love that. So top of funnel, which I heard another Tristan out of Lab Code calls that tofu. Top of funnel leads. And then we're talking about Google. So cold traffic to Facebook, top of funnel. Cold traffic to Google, more of middle of funnel. I'll just call it that for the sake of argument. That's what Tristan uses. I love that. I'm stealing that from you, Tristan. Tofu, mofu, and that's the difference you're seeing. But there's a trade-off there, right? Crystal, you got those top of funnel leads. What you mentioned one of them, which is cost, right? There's going to be a difference in cost. Let's just make it simple. Buyer leads, like nice vanilla buyer leads. How do you explain that difference in cost when people ask that question? Hey, Crystal, I'm torn, Facebook or Google? Like, well, how does that conversation go when they want to choose one versus the other?
For direct leads, remarketing.
Correct.
It's usually a pretty easy conversation because as soon as I say these are top funnel cold leads, people normally aren't interested in them. You tend to get not more bang for your buck as far as cost per lead goes with Google, because the Google cost per lead is going to be a bit higher, but that intent behind those searches tends to lead to a sale sooner.
I got you. Yeah, so it's going to make up for it in that higher conversion rate. Do you have any examples you can think of on that difference in cost? That gives people like a ballpark idea, like in a specific area, like because Facebook is always going to be the lowest cost, because of what you said, higher, easier for them to click. They might just be browsing and they like the house. I mean, there's a lot more people that can click on that ad versus homes for sale in Louisville, right? It's a little bit more work to type that out and hit search than it is to like click on a nice picture of a home in a newsfeed ad and get your data instantly sent to the advertiser, right? Like boom, you don't have to fill anything out.
A lot of times they don't even remember they did it.
Yeah, that's exactly what can happen. I think you don't have to even confirm maybe you have to confirm the information if the advertiser wants. I clicked on ads and I didn't see. I just thought, thank you so much for sending us that. Like, oh wow, I hope I sent you my current phone number. I haven't checked my email. I haven't checked that in a while. When I opened my Facebook account 12 years ago, right? Like, oh wow, hopefully that's great. But how can you explain a little bit the difference in cost? Do you have an example of that? People can wrap their heads around.
This cost per lead question is a very common question that I'm sure most agencies or platforms get, and it's a very loaded question because there are, what goes into determining cost per lead is so many different things. It could be search volume, it could be budget, it could be competition. There's just, are you targeting hyperlocal? Are you targeting nationwide? There's so many things that go into it. And so I hate giving out averages for cost per lead, just on a blanket, because somebody who's in Miami is going to have a completely different cost per lead than maybe someone who's in Mission Viejo in California, or somebody who's in Utah. You know what I mean? So they're so different. So I don't really know how else the direct lead costs for Facebook are lower.
It's going to be lower, and
it's going to be lower.
All of that implies, right? Okay. So let's go to the next level in that chain. So you're paying for that Google pay-per-click or Facebook. You're doing that retargeting to existing traffic. They come into the CRM. So what is Sierra doing that's working so well once the lead comes in? You mentioned action plans. Does this come preloaded with these action plans for buyers and sellers? Is it like a blank canvas where the client has to come in and set those plans up? How does that? What's the out of box experience to get these leads with these smart follow up plans? What do they typically look like?
Yeah, I'm happy to speak to that just a little bit, Gus. So with Sierra's lead routing, I think one of the things that we hear about the most is how granular and very detailed in the lead routing rules can be. So you can make it as easy as you want, and just every lead comes in and it gets automatically assigned to Gus, or you can route leads based on the area, the source, and price range, any number of other items, and then you can auto apply actions based on those if criteria, then apply these actions. And one of those things that you can do, so that includes various lead distribution options to the agents on your team, and auto text and auto email, and as well as drip campaign and a couple different types of action plans, probably the most utilized. It's one of these two types of action plans, but fully automated action plans where everything happens in an automated way if and until a lead responds. So they're designed to elicit some amount of engagement from a lead, and you can set it up then at the fully automated action plan level, whether you want that plan to automatically pause, which you can then restart, or you can automatically stop. The leads engage, you can take it from there.
Based on the engagement, you can exactly either keep going or pause everything, because I don't want them to, I don't want them to feel like we're oblivious to their response, right?
Stop it or pause it. And then if you pause it, you can restart it, right? So maybe Gus just writes back and says, got it, or sounds good. And you want to keep that plan going, you can keep it going to nurture that lead. And that helps kind of keep things, gives you a little bit more brain space, and it gives you the peace of mind to know that the system is following up with that lead. So those fully automated action plans are, they can be made up of text messages, emails, and even voicemail drops. So folks typically, I think, utilize the email and the text message in those plans pretty heavily. Now with Sierra, you do have one of those plans by default, and you can use it and massage it, use it, tailor it to your own purposes. But we do have a number of partners that you can connect with. You mentioned Robbie T at the top. So just because you did, I'll mention Hatch Coaching. We partner with services, a number of them, GGMS Coaching, Hatch Coaching, among them, a couple of others as well, where folks can actually contract with that third party, and Sierra acts like the facilitator, the conduit between those partners' follow-up plans and systems. So tags, contact templates, smart filters, or what some people might call smart lists, and the managed leads page, action plans, they're all importable with, just very easily to facilitate the import of that content, so that you can then work with someone like Robbie T, as you mentioned, with a lead management follow-up plan, the plans and the system. So there's a lot of options within Sierra. You can create your own. You can work with a partner. We've got more coming along those lines that we'll share at a future date. But there's a lot of different options for you in terms of actually following up with those leads and getting engagement. And then on top of that, Gus, we do have some various notifications you can set up in our mobile app, which is on iOS and Android, via text message, via email, where when a lead performs certain kinds of behavior, like returns to your site after X number of days away, or clicks through, X consecutive listing alerts, you'll get notified. And when I say X is because you at an account level, there's a default value, but you can modify it. You can change it from 21 days away and coming back to get notified. You can change it to 60 days away, coming back and being notified. So you get to modify that, make it flexible to whatever works for your team and your business plan and so forth. But you can also automatically apply a tag, one or more tags to those leads when they do perform one of those actions. So that will help you to make sure that all of those leads that are raising their hand, tippity top, wiggling their fingers to get attention, you can apply that tag. So even if you miss in a sea of notifications, text message, in-app or email, throughout the day, you can apply that tag, one or more, create a filter for it every day. Then you can pop in, you can add those leads to a call list, you can send a bulk text message, you can apply a specific plan, you can send a custom email, whatever it is that you want to do. It just always keeps them top of mind. It just takes a little bit of effort and investment upfront or working with a partner to kind of help you do the same. And really you can be flying really quickly. And then if you're working with Crystal and our Google Ads management team to say, work with a budget maybe under $1,000 or up to $1,000, and that's just every single penny is going right to generating Google Ads. You can be generating those online leads and then going through typically sometimes a pretty long-term nurture process, but you can set those plans to go out for some time if and until they engage. And then even if the plan runs out, you can apply post-plan actions. You can set another plan off and these types of things. So there really are a tremendous number of options just in an automated way, but then in a customized way in terms of working with a partner or just performing custom actions that you can do within Sierra, and a lot of flexibility to make the platform your own in terms of lead routing, in terms of action plans, in terms of the smart list, in terms of the tags and the modifying the values about those behavioral notifications and the various ways that you can be kept up to date with what's going on in the platform. It's just a very, and granted, very biased, a very powerful platform. And those ads that our team manages, and this is not my team, but I'm very proud of the work that they do because our clients do see results. And I will say this, in this kind of ecosystem, real estate tech, you will not find another provider that provides what we provide at the value we provided. And that's not only related to the Google Ads management, and I would say that with extreme confidence, but I think our system as a whole, because it's not just the CRM capabilities, it's that front end website to come with it, that works, it does convert, that has high Google page speed scores, that is designed for you to be able to utilize for SEO, for organic leads as well. There is a tremendous amount of opportunity with our platform, and at the value you get it and what you get with it, there is nothing to match it.
I gotcha. And I love that, Robert. Thanks for that overview. One of the things, actually, you got me thinking, one of the things I've heard about Sierra, I haven't used it myself, I've heard good things about it.
We got to get you in, Gus. We got to get you an account so you can take a look yourself.
I do, absolutely. Is the messaging capability. Now, and again, I've heard this from Robbie, from other folks in the space, ISAs, that they like the messaging capability. Is that the automation, like automating the messages? What sets you guys apart on the messaging side? Text messages. Is it do you have like a different interface? Is it more automatable? Because not all the CRMs allow you to do automation with the SMSs, or not to the same level. What sets you guys apart in the messaging space?
Bulk text messaging, you can include more than one. You can include as many text messages in a plan as you wish. The bulk application of plans up to a certain limit. These are all things that our clients and our partners find value in. For example, just kind of going back, since we keep referring to him, to Robbie Trefethrin, he utilizes a lot of GIFs or GIFs, whatever your flavor of
there we go.
is.
That's exactly what
okay.
I mean. That's exactly
all right.
What
So
I mean.
you can attach images, attach GIFs to those text messages as they go out. We just released a pretty neat feature around insert listing to text message, where you can just quickly search for a property by MLS number or address and send that via text really quickly, especially in this market where things are coming on and just going off very quickly. You can find even a property that's listed as status coming soon and send that out. So there are a lot of things around the automations with the text messages, and then the fully automated action plans in general, that I think a lot of our partners and clients find are very powerful and unmatched.
Gotcha. No, very cool. And kudos for that information and for knowing how to pronounce Robbie T's last name. I think you're a champ. You're a better guy than me.
He likes that I can pronounce it, I think. So.
I just go with Robbie T. So anyways, switching gears back to Crystal. Yeah. Crystal, one question to kind of close this out, because I actually thought about this and I get this a lot. You mentioned that one of the recommendations you guys have, and the number one thing people use on the seller lead side, is the home valuation model, the home valuation ad. I hear that a lot. A lot of people have tried home valuation and like, oh yeah, those leads are, they never want to list. They don't convert. The typical. It's a variation of what I like to call the lead suck objection. Oh, it's the lead suck. You can hear it many different ways, but particularly for those seller leads. How do you deal with an objection like that? Or better yet, how do you set the proper expectation to avoid that kind of an objection from the folks you work with? They're going to run this home valuation ad.
I like to just tell people up front that even the buyer PPC ads, these are longer nurtures. Like people may be searching, but they could be at the beginning of their search. They could be at the beginning of this whole experience. They're thinking about selling their house. They're wondering how much it is worth. And of course, you do get leads that are like, oh, I was gonna refinance, or oh, my house is already listed, I got an offer, I was just checking, or things like that. This is normal. These are internet leads. We can only go after so much, with the keyword targeting, and we're going after what we think is going to produce the best seller leads for you. And like Lee, and we have other clients who are having a lot of success out of this. So on our side, we set expectations. We let them know it could be a longer nurture. It could be a higher cost per lead. You may get these types of leads. This is normal. So that way they're not surprised, when these things do start happening. But then they have the leads, and now it's up to them. Now it's up to them to use Sierra's system to convert those leads. And as Robert just explained, there's lots of ways to do that.
Yeah, it's kind of like, absolutely. And Gus, I don't know if this analogy will land, but I think sometimes folks will bounce from technology to technology, almost like a dieting fad, right? Well, like this month I'm going to, just drink grapefruit juice. And, this month I'm all about, all I'll do is eat meat and eggs and cut out bread, and kind of going from fad to fad, when in reality, at the end of the day, you got to eat nutritiously and exercise, right? And so at the end of the day, you need to kind of just come back to, okay, what is it exactly that's going to help me to do what I want to do? And that's to work my leads, understand my platform. Yes, you want to ask that cliche about the best CRM is the one that you use. There's some truth to that. But you should also take a step back sometimes and ask the big picture questions, which is, are my agents utilizing this to its fullest capabilities? And if not, what do I need to do? Is it a leadership issue, or is it an issue around making sure that folks see the value in it? Or is it an issue of it's not a good system and we need to do something else? Do I need to work with a partner? What is the cost? What is my ROI on it? What kinds of campaigns are being run by this service, if at all? And what is it costing me? Is there a better value that I could find out there? And it's worth kind of taking that step back sometimes, but at the end of the day, you got to eat right. You got to exercise. You got to work those leads. You got to follow up, right? And you got to work smart. And and work hard and all of the ands, not the ors. You gotta go a little bit deeper sometimes because you're looking to have success, right?
Yeah.
And you're looking to be successful. And that's the biggest thing that our team wants to do is facilitate your success and help you be successful. And just one of the ways we do that is what Crystal and her team does around managing those campaigns.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And, you know, there's some truth to what you said. I agree that, you know, the best CRM is the one you use. Because if you get past that, not all CRMs are created equal. I think when people ask me the question of what CRM should I use, I think you have to go. There's a lot of features that all CRMs have. They're common features. But you have to go down into the details, right? You have to go down and say, okay, what are you going to be using the CRM for? I think, you know, the CRM discussion takes on another level when you're talking about paid advertising. That is like CRM is no longer optional. CRM is an absolute must. Automation is an absolute must. And not all the CRMs do this equally. It's just not true. It's like, oh yeah, they all do messaging, they all do emails. Well, yeah, they all do text, they all do emails. But like, is it a difference between like the capability they have? You set up your own custom plans. Do you even want to set up your own custom plans?
Right.
Do they all have the same kind of configurability? Do you have a team? Do you not have a team? And then ultimately, it's about value. When let's say you have three CRMs that provide very similar functionality and they're geared towards teams. Then it's like, hey, yeah, but they don't cost the same. You know, what's the value you're getting for the feature set, right? So you know, I'll leave it at that. You know, but it's a discussion that's well worth having. I'm already thinking about the next talk we're gonna have next week. I'm gonna have like a CRM panel in this group. You know, agents and practitioners. It's not fair to have you guys there. You know, agents and practitioners talk about this discussion because it's big. It's a big deal. It's one of the biggest spends that we have as agents, you know, because I'll put myself in that bucket. When I was, you know, an active agent, I'm still licensed, no longer active, you know, but when I was an active agent, I would jump from the smart targeting to the Boomtown ad leads to the sync leads to all these different, you know, things. And as an agent, you know, you're always, it's the curse of immediate gratification. You have very little patience sometimes when you're an agent. And if you have money to spend, even worse, right? Like, oh no, like let me buy more stuff. You know, it's a little bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy. I want something faster, and you're not going to get it faster. Actually, you have to make that choice, evaluate, and then you have to grind with that, right? You have to do the work in it. And when it comes to CRMs, no CRM that I've seen has been able to automate the phone call yet. I mean, they do a great job of getting you on the phone.
That's right.
That's the part that you have to do as an agent, right? You have to get on the phone, and then when you start that conversation with someone, you got to know what to say. So I think that's the other part. Which I love that you guys work with folks like Hatch and these other coaching companies. We're like, that's where they'll give you everything, and then they can teach you the rest of it. But it's important, right? These tools can start a conversation with a motivated buyer and seller. They're going to start that conversation. They get you into contact with them, but they're not going to be able to close the deal. You still got to do that work, right?
There's no way to automate Gus. There's no way to automate Crystal or Robert, right? There's not. That's you. You're a person, right? There's an organic nature to you as existing. So it's good that it's you, right? I mean, you're the one helping. This is a service-oriented industry. You're the one who's helping somebody through a big decision in their lives, either buying or selling, or both. I just want to say one more thing too, Gus, since you mentioned the details. I do want to say that one more thing that I think you should be looking at is how transparent is this service in their pricing. And it's not just about their pricing, but in the results. And one of the things that one of the features, I think, of our Google Ads management and other campaigns is that you do get, especially the Google Ads, transparent reporting in a way that I don't think you're going to find other places as well, so that you will be able to see where your money is going. So yeah, you can know that all of your dollars are up to $1,000. Every single one of those pennies is going towards a Google ad, but you can also see at the back end of things, the reporting, okay, and how those campaigns are performing. And so that transparency that we provide, not only in terms of our pricing, check with our sales team just to confirm it, but I think you'll find it's true around what we do, but you'll also find transparency in what's kind of behind the scenes with these campaigns as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've heard a lot of complaints about that from some of the let's call them the big CRMs. Some of those big box CRMs, they're not great at that. You know, sometimes they'll have issues, you know, kind of explaining, you know, even where the leads came from. Like I've seen issues like that. Oh, is it a Facebook or a Google? Oh, I don't know.
I have that.
You know? Yeah, that's a real thing, guys. That's
Yep.
a real, if you've had that problem, you're probably working with the wrong company. If they can't track like where your lead came from, or exactly break down the cost per lead that you're generating by lead source. I think it's such a really important. It's not the only thing you should notice, but it is a big piece of how you hold that partner accountable. Ad spend, cost per lead, and lead source, right? So
well, partner is the word
really
there, right?
Deal.
Partner. You want a partner that's going to be helping to facilitate your success, is going to be transparent in doing it, and is going to be continually innovating. And I think you'll find all those things with Sierra.
It's always so shocking when I have somebody who's, reaching out and asking about possibly switching to Sierra, and I'll ask, well, what campaigns are you currently running? Not sure. How much is your current cost per lead? What is your ad spend? I'm like, how do you not know your ad spend? So, so I think that's a big difference, is this report that Robert is talking about. I mean, it updates daily. You get a nice, bar graph. It shows you your total cost, your cost per lead, your conversion rate, and it'll report the last 12 months. And then we also offer a page with flexible reporting dates, so you can, if you've been running your ads with us for years, you can just pull any month whenever and see all of those details. So there's no unknowns with your ads.
Yeah, exactly. And for me, that's it seems like a very low bar, but I think people, if you don't know what we're talking about, this is a real thing. I've discovered this. It sounds unbelievable from what we're talking about. This is actually really, really true. Sometimes people just have no idea kind of where that spend is going and what they're getting out of it. It's not 100% easy to do. So, but anyways, guys, I want to thank you so much. If people want to continue the conversation, they want to ask you stuff, people are going to watch this now, people are going to watch this tomorrow, throughout the next few weeks. Because people are always watching these. I always love when someone comments on a video from like a month ago, like, oh, I know. People actually do this. They'll save the video on Facebook on their app, and they'll watch it like when they're at the airport or something. So thank you for doing that, number one. But what's a great way to continue the conversation with you guys if they want to learn more about what you do or ask some more questions?
Schedule a demo with our team at sierrainteractive.com. And Crystal, your email address, if it's an existing Sierra client who wants to know more about our campaigns.
Just digital marketing at sierrainteractive.com.
All right.
Best way to reach me.
All right. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Crystal, Robert. Appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us here in the group. Appreciate you guys.
Thanks, Gus. You have a good one.
Bye-bye.
See ya.